Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a chance to catch your breath, because we certainly didn't in the middle of last game, because now we have to look forward to Lucent Esports versus Resolve Academy. Lucent still setting at 0-5. Resolve Academy finally defeated after dropping a game to M&M yesterday. Straight into pick and ban, because obviously that last game lasted just a little while.
Yeah, a lot longer than I feel like a lot of the UKLC games have been this split.
True.
So straight into pick and bans, and for Lucent, fulfilling one of the previous roles of last splits. Nearly 14 teams at the moment. They're on trend, unfortunately. There's a lot of issues, that seem to be plaguing these guys on the Rift. And I definitely do personally feel like it's the constant rotation of players. I think you really have to try and find the solidification of one set of 5, because it can hurt results. Now, at the moment, we've got picks and bans obviously on the way. Ezreal moved away, Xin Zhao, Resolve, and with their bans of Set and Gwen on the red side. Not too much to talk about there. So let's see what direction these guys want to go in, because I'm definitely curious about Resolve for me, because yesterday was the first time that we obviously saw them lose, and it wasn't just losing. They got manhandled, like start to finish.
It was pretty rough.
It stayed close in the gold, but the game state felt like very M&M favored for a lot of the early games still. So I want to see how they're going to bounce back. I don't think there's a much better bounce back team than Lucent at the moment.
True enough.
So let's see how they handled it. The Viego first pick coming out from Lucent here, but Resolve, plenty of options. You've got Thresh if you want it on the bottom side. You've got things like the Varus if they've lent on the lot. You've got the Rumble, you've got Lucent.
Speaking of,
really, yeah.
Alongside the Rumble as well, definitely a powerful duo. But of course, Viego's one of those champions, like, it doesn't really matter how far you are behind, because if somebody else kills an enemy member who's ahead, you get to be just as ahead as they are, because you steal all their items. Ain't that fun for everybody involved? No sarcasm at all. You saw Jamada's eyebrows. I didn't say anything. We're going to see Kai'Sa locked in here as well for Excellent, not the Draven, of course, we saw yesterday, which they're very famous for. I'm a little sad not to be casting it. They do lock it in alongside the Nautilus for Little Pants. Kai'Sa Nautilus, tale as old as those two champions have been available to play.
Very interesting combo. I wonder if they're going to just lock it in over the AD carry, because for me, I feel like you might want to go for the Varus pick over the Braum pick, but honestly, I think support matchups typically a little more crucial in the bottom lane than AD to AD. So let's see what the response will be from Lucent on the bans, whether they pick up on this Varus, because for me, I think you have to remove the Varus, and you probably have to remove away the Lucian from MakeU, because he's been one of the I think it's the only AD carry that's pilot bottom side.
If you go for like the Hail of Blades Varus here, you Prowler's Claw forwards, you get those 3 quick autos to stack up the Braum passive, like, you can definitely have a kill combo there.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really impressive. Concussive Blows, Glacial Fissure, Chains of Corruption, there's so much CC available. They're actually going for the Cogmore ban, which you can understand definitely when you've got the Kai'Sa in the bottom lane, but I think you've got to think about what the strongest picks in the meta are and what MakeU actually plays right now, and I don't feel like Cogmore would necessarily be the outright angle for me.
Unless there's something in scrims we don't know about here. You never know, I suppose. But I kind of agree.
You understand it, but MakeU's played a lot of Lucian games, and Varus would be the other, I think, the second most played for MakeU. So a little bit strange to want to even leave one of those up, in my opinion. But hey, Resolve, I think, doing a correct thing here, removing away the AP jungler in Karthus, just because Trinket does play it, and Volibear and early game junglers try and match the Rumble with the Xin Zhao gone. There's not really many very orthodox junglers at the moment that do match Rumble in the early game.
Especially considering there has been so much focus towards that pool. You're absolutely right. Maybe we see something like the Morgana come out. I suppose Udyr might be an option, but again, pretty nerfed. The Xayah is the lock-in alongside the Braum. Pretty defensive if people start diving in like Kai'Sa and Nautilus do, because you dive into all those compulsive blows, you dive beyond the feathers, which is Xayah's sweet spot. So makes sense, at least, as in response to the Kai'Sa Nautilus.
It does, but I was expecting more of an aggressive pick. Now, Zac would be interesting, but I don't think it's the right time to do it. But we've not really seen Hovers not be locked in this
Secret
game,
weapon,
so,
quite literally. This could be it for Lucent. It's locked in.
All right. I mean,
it's there.
It's another layer of engage, but I'm not sure this is going to work out too well, and I'll get into it once we get into game.
Okay.
It's an interesting champion, but it's a bit too slow in this mirror, I feel like. You've really got to get the ball rolling in comp, but the issue with Zac is you need, level 4 realistically to make ganks happen. If this is going to be jungle Zac, which I'm expecting it to be.
Sure.
unless we see top lane Zach, but
I suppose Whippo did that a little bit. Of course, he's left top lane to go to the jungle, so you never know. Xerath is the final lock-in, which means I suppose it could be Viego jungle, Zach top.
I would actually prefer Zach top in this situation. I think you're running what is realistically going to be Kenru on this Lee Sin on the top side. It's kind of one of these things where Lee Sin is a really versatile champion in lane because, you know, on the weak side, he clears waves instantly. If you want to play him strong side, because he's got all the priority you can, but it seems like it's going to be mid lane Lee Sin with top lane Aatrox anyway, so now, you know, top lane Zach is kind of out of the question. It's going to have to be jungle Zach, and Viego's going to most likely match it here. Interesting draft from Lucent.
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to just have to see how it plays out. I'll just leave it like that. I'm not going to even set up expectations for it. Just we'll see how Resolve responds to what is a very unorthodox jungle pick. Blind pick Xerath as well. You know, it is a head scratcher, but maybe Monrobo can pull out something special. But there's so many proactivity tools here and available for Resolve. I will say, if there's one thing, you know, the scaling edge, if you're looking at it objectively and at surface level, I think Lucent definitely can come out ahead.
Sure.
But if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, of Resolve look like they're going to have 3 priority lanes, plus an aggressive jungler, plus you've seen how Resolve play with leads. This is a very difficult situation for Lucent to, you know, walk into from the get-go.
Look, I appreciate the creativity. I appreciate a different look. I appreciate going towards champions that you want to play and not necessarily just going towards the meta, especially if you are struggling. That kind of comfort option makes a lot of sense to me. And you can sort of see how that comp wants to play. But as you said, it is just how long does it take to come online? And you're into a lot of priority on the side. And that's a bit scary. Talk about Resolve briefly as well. I was chatting with Navy, who's one of the backroom staff for Resolve Academy yesterday over on the London Esports channel, their after show there. And he was sort of saying, like, look, you know, Otter, the bot lane as well, haven't got a lot of competitive experience really. I mean, obviously Otter was a bit of a superstar in the university scene. Nymera has been singing his praises to me for the last 2 years. I think at this point really loves the guy and excited to see him on the Lee Sin at that point. But you know, you lose yesterday to the second place team. If this game does, for whatever reason, start going south, Jamada, how does, you know, these newer players handle it? Is that something they need to be worried about? Again, I'm talking a bit meta here. We don't know. This is all psychological stuff. You can't put that into numbers, but
the issue for me when it comes to gauging Resolve right now is we've only seen them from a position of, you know, deficit once, and that was yesterday. And it was a position which, you know, was definitely you can climb out of that hole, but the chances were very slim. The chances were very slim whilst the gold lead was relatively close. But then eventually, once the map was opened up, you know, Eminem took over the map to the point where there wasn't really much recourse for Resolve. And that's why at the moment, it's hard for me to answer that question, because you've not seen them in the kind of game state where, you know, for very long where, okay, they're behind, you know, 2,000, 3,000 gold, but they've got, you know, tools are plentiful to actually come back into it. That wasn't really the case yesterday. With a draft like this, you can definitely see a few more options, Lee Sin kick, all of the defensive peel tools in general as well. And with the Lucent composition, generally it wants to kind of move forward. Monrobo will probably take a more, you know, artillery-based role. He's playing Xerath after all. But all of these Resolve champions don't mind aggressive moving champions coming into them. Aatrox, you know, you're operating inside of his healing ranges. Lee Sin, you can always aim up for those kicks. Defensive equalizers can always be helpful, and I think it goes without saying the Resolve duo Xayah Braum, how advancing champions tend to end up. So tools definitely better in comparison to yesterday's game against Eminem. But for Lucent, I think you've got to find somewhere to attack on a consistent basis.
Sure.
And if I'm them, I'm looking probably towards the top side, but already saying that, Trinket's starting on the blue buff, which means he's probably going to path down towards his bottom side first. So we'll have to see how these things shape up.
I mean, like, you kind of see how it's supposed to work, right? Like, Monrobo walks out of vision, presses R, and starts barraging down wherever Nautilus and Zach jump in, right? And then Kai'Sa follows up, or Viego follows up, and you got to kill in one of the side lanes. Nice dive comp. Problem is, you're doing it into, you know, Xayah Braum particularly, who are, you know, notoriously pretty good at dealing with people who dive into them. And we've already mentioned that potentially it gets a little scary if you don't get things started, but that is a very smart Winter Spite. But Limplepants could still look for something there, gets the passive route down, but not too much more found. But MyQ just kicked away from the wave a little bit here. Nicely played by Lucent to at least start off on a decent footing.
Yeah, I don't think that Resolve actually lost any XP there, though they look like they will yield on the lane priority. They're a little bit weary. It seems as level 2 ticks in. There you go. Now they might lose 1 or 2 creeps as some of the casters die out. But yeah, real nice from the Lucent bot lane to force this tiny bit of pressure very early on. It will mean that if Bakako was pathing down to the bottom side of the map, he wouldn't be able to invade Trinket so freely without full bottom lane priority. Good stuff from Lucent bottom side of the map.
At least this way they find some priority, because you can see in the other 2 lanes, Lucent certainly has the Xerath piloted by Monrobo shoved in pretty early on. Aatrox as well getting the wave shoved in onto Sotzi on the Viego, and kind of shows over and where the junglers are pathing as well, because Bakako is moving towards the top side of the map where he's got his 2 lanes shoved in, whereas Trinket pathing towards this bot side where he at least has some bot side pressure to attempt to come and help him with the scuttle grab, which will be spawning in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, and a slow early game for Zach is exactly what he wants, but I look towards the side lanes for Lucent, I'm like, they probably just want to go as soon as they can. So Trinket, he's going to have to beeline for level 4, or fast track to level 4 rather, as quickly as he can, but you can see because Lucent delivered the wave on wave 2, it's now Resolve with the bottom lane priority. So if Resolve want to deny away the Scuttle Crab, they honestly can.
Ward gets placed down by FGG and immediately swept out. Maybe they can come and try and deny it, but instead, Trinket looks like he's just going to go for the gank. Instead, Flash, hook, but there's the teleport in response, and Lucent needs to try and find a way out as FGG goes dancing forwards with the stand beside me. Big Darkin Blade from Aatrox. Kenruto gets first blood with a well-timed teleport.
Yeah, I don't know. For Lucent, you have to just kind of be wary of these things. You know, Kenruro's got a wave delivered in the top side, it's shoved in, he's based, he's in fog, he's ready to teleport. And they didn't even really have an idea of where Bakako was before that gank actually happened. And for all they knew, he could have been there as well already. Instead, I think he got the chicken camp away from Trinket on top of that. So double scuttle plus a jungle camp stolen away. Bakako is already fast tracking without really having to interact with anybody to level 6. And on the bottom side, it's Kenruro who secures that first blood, so he's going to be feeling pretty nice. Up on the top side now, 2 Doran's Blades, plus a longsword, which I can't remember how the Doran... I don't think the Doran's Blade Omnivamp actually stacks anymore.
Does it not? That's just old school tech that's possibly not as effective as it could be. And considering longswords are cheaper than Doran's as well, if it doesn't stack, that's problematic. I don't know whether it's a unique passive. Maybe
because I remember it's a named passive.
Find out. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, maybe it is. Okay. Well, slight mistake possibly from Kenruto there.
It's one
assuming we're correct. Assuming we're correct.
It's pretty sure one of those things where it's been in the game for such a long time, because the Doran's Blades are such an IM efficient. Wait, he's got 5% on that. He might have the red root.
Oh,
no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. So it does stack, apparently. It's not saying unique passive, so clearly it apparently does.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just wrong. All right. Because I remember there being a conversation.
We've got smart wars between my producer and my color caster. I'm not. No. Look, okay, guys, you just sort this off cast. We're not dealing with this now. Sort your problems later.
No, I love the Observer. He is a very funny fellow. He nods in agreement. But I remember there was a conversation about it being a little less efficient as it used to be. Slight HUD's up, but I think it could be a bait unless you see a hook. In this pretty stacked wave, in my opinion.
Bold, of course, Trinket does have his passive to potentially abuse it. Teleporting behind, trying to return the favor. FGG flashing the other way, trying to stay alive. And look who's roaming down. It's another one, Otter and Bakako. But look, Monroe pulls the Arcane Barrage out to try and get some damage. Right, the Arcane does exactly what they need it to, and they get themselves a kill in trade. And Viego has stolen Xayah. Trinket goes stepping forward, finds a stretching strike. They're going in further. Massive, shocking orb to freeze. FGG in place. Otter escapes on sub 100 HP, and that, Lucent, is what we've been looking for.
Yeah, it's a lane war disrespected by Resolve. They might not have seen it placed down. The teleport comes in. It's a 4-man party. In the bottom side, or 5-man technically, with Murbo eventually rotating over, but there's still more fighting going on.
3 kills!
Yeah.
Oh, 3 kills on Viego at 6 minutes 40. That is an alarm bell for every team everywhere on this patch.
Yes, it really is, and now he's going to reset. He's only actually picked up the Ninja Tabi with... I'm still holding a Ninja Tabi, by the way. I'm one of the...
Okay, you just hold on to that. That's fine.
That's okay. I'll hold on to it as long as I can. With the Vamp Scepter. so is going to heal up a little bit extra in the lane, which when you're talking about Aatrox lanes, definitely very helpful in keeping the sustain matched up. So nice from him. As I'd imagine, Blades were in King Rush. It's what it typically tends to be, though we do see some shield bows come out every now and again. But yeah, pretty aggressive from FGG. I think they just want to crash the wave, and you see all of the feathers pulled in. And honestly, Makyu just survives way longer than he deserves to. Whereas the kick from Art doesn't actually come down immediately to try and keep Sotzi off of his AD carry. And it cost him his life a little sooner than it could have potentially been used to buy some time. It's actually the honey fruit plant used to drag Art back in. So that's the really RNG on the spawning of that one.
Still a 300 gold lead to Resolve Academy, but that's gotta maybe be a little bit worrying for Resolve Academy. You know, we said they're so used to playing from an advantage, and they are, strictly speaking, as far as gold, but you see what that's kind of done in terms of getting this Viego to a strong point. Of course, the first blood gold keeps Aatrox close enough, only 300 or so different, but what happens if Resolve start falling a little bit further behind? What happens if this happens? We mentioned this team hadn't lost yet. We mentioned they finally dropped a game yesterday. We mentioned there's a bit of inexperience on this roster that maybe could come back to haunt them here.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're a team that's so used to winning and then all of a sudden you're put in even or losing positions, what do you actually do if you just don't have that experience? It's something that can be hard to pilot, and it's why players like Kenruto and Bakuko are here on this roster, because they've got that experience. They can voice and guide the younger and more rookie players of this Resolve roster as they're eyeing up Sotzi. So they scored 200 gold shutdowns. He's definitely paying a lot of respect here. He hasn't walked over a ward either, so this is just Sotzi really
worrying, isn't he? So it's got to be somewhere around here.
But it's good. It's really great patience. He knows he has to just suffer, try and stay in XP range, which I think he has for the entirety of this, until right around now.
He's still here. He's still being thinking about it, and now finally comes out. There's the equalizer. It's close, but it's not really the best angle, I don't think. And Ruto has popped the World Ender, does line the Umble Chase, but he just has to escape. Quick dash, and that's a lot of time wasted there by the Rumble.
Yeah, not only that, Sotzi didn't even have to commit the Heartbreaker either to dash out, so it's literally just the Spectral Maw and some of the movement speed from his E to escape. So nice patience, honestly, and a lot of respect from Sotzi, who doesn't give over the shutdown. Of course, does miss out on a lot of minions, but at the end of the day, respecting the gank and not having the freeze turned on you or just held, much better response. Or end result, rather, as Bakuko will take down the Herald off the back of this. He spent so much time, actually, that his jungle camps did eventually spawn on the bottom side. But he's not against an aggressive jungler, so it's not going to be the end of the world. He's not losing CS, but you know, if you look at the scoreboard and you say, hey, my Rumbles equal CS with a Zac, I don't know how happy you are about that. 10 minutes into the game, to be honest with you.
I kind of agree, and, you know, credit to Otter and stuff for getting a decent CS lead in the mid lane. Of course, you know, Makyu and Excellent doing pretty well at staying relatively even as well. But then you look up north and we said, yeah, Viego, 3-0-0. The Ruin King looking to ruin some results here, I suspect. I'm already 0-1 on my predictions.
We both.
No, I would like not to continue going that way. I have some pride as an analyst, mildly even as a play-by-play caster. As you can see, Lucent Esports just looking to come over here and punish this Aatrox. Does have flash, uses it, but now he's got to avoid distraction. Distraction does not do so. He's going to go down and let them feed it over. Not to Sotzi, but this time Drink picks it up. Still, nice gank in the top side. Much more time efficient, perhaps, than Resolve Academy hanging around. And they now move to 4-1.
Yeah, and Sotzi's even going to pick up some plates here. Isn't too much worry in terms of the objective spawning. Trinket's even going to be picking up Krug Camp, I believe, but you can see the response on the bottom side. Instant, immediate. Herald going to be dropped here, so gold given over to Q. And yeah, Excellent being starved a bit on some of these waves, and I don't think this Herald can take down the tower. So if they want to hold on to this wave,
would be bold, but they could do it. Not quite a teleport for Sotzi yet, so he's not going to come down. They just take the tower instead.
Yeah, full-on fight, though, in the top side. Wow. And is not happy about tying to that gank.
He really is not. Takes a lot of damage here. Remember, there's been no back yet for Sotzi. He's stuck around. He's going to take a lot of damage. But look who's here. It's Trinket to buy some space. The Harrow Path comes out. Wait for the Spectral Maw. Teleport in response. And Otter turns up as well, but I don't think they're going to be able to chase that easily. Zach at this point should surely have enough space to be able to get out. Uses the elastic slingshot to get his way out to safety. Still, Resolve Academy bounce back. They get a nice play in the bot side. They move themselves up to over 1,000 gold ahead. And, you know, we asked questions about how they would respond if they put a little ways behind. Well, they have at least played somewhat smart on the other side of the map and got themselves a decent advantage there.
Yeah, they have, and you can see 1,200, give or take 300, the gold lead for Mikey. He should have his first item in his inventory now. And, you know, about expected when you have an AD carry funneled 5 plates just sort of immediately into his back pocket. Obviously had the assist from the earlier teleport. Essence Reaver, the first item of choice for this AD carry. Isn't going to opt into something like the Gale Force straight away, but could definitely be the second item here if he so chooses. As Lucent, I mean, they're in the top side. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for. They don't really have vision per se, but oh no, Mike Q, he doesn't know.
The Harrow Path and the Spectral Maw.
Oh!
Mako gets out, but flash over the one. Sotsi gets it with the Heartbreaker. Zaya stabbed through the heart. Rakan's not to blame. Viego is giving Resolve Academy a bad name in this game. My Bon Jovi buns will probably have to end right now as Otter escapes.
It's not looking good for Resolve right now. I mean, the gold, you can tell, obviously, just by looking at the top of the screen, it's almost dead even, but you don't want to be even with the 0-5 team 15 minutes into the game after your previous showings in the league so far as Accident forced off this wave. But again, after yesterday, potentially a little bit shaken by that defeat. As Lucent, you know, they're keeping pace in the early game. Yeah, they're looking pretty good.
This looks coordinated. They've got a seriously strong Viego to work with. 5-0 and 100% kill participation. The Zac is working. Little Pants is roaming all over the place on the Nautilus. This looks pretty coordinated, and you got to ask, where has this kind of comfort, this kind of coordination been for the rest of the 5 games?
Yeah, you really have to ask that question. I think, again, at least to me, from a team point of view, I have to credit it to just the sort of constant in and out of the different rotation of players on such a frequent basis. The thing about these splits in a league like the UKLC is it's just around Robin. It's only 14 games in a regular split, and it's not a lot of time to develop players. You only have about 8-9 weeks in total to actually usually develop a team, and it's not the longest time in the world. So
no, it's not.
This time, Lucent coming out strong with this rotation of players, and you know, they're making Resolve sweat right now. 15 minutes into the game, take a look at the items. Across the board, core items completed for Lucent. Only Excellent, who of course has had to suffer on the bottom side to a lot of the Resolve cross maps. First items in, so he's a little whiles away, but he did pick up the serrated Dirk, so that's what's slowing him down. He's got a nice big wave coming in, so he's not going to be too upset about that. And Resolve, honestly, on the opposite side, they're not too far behind in the item department. Rumble going towards what will be either a Proto Belt or a Night Harvester, and realistically on those component items, it's about the same anyway. Stat-wise, he's not too far off the complete item, and full stats just missing past
them from Monroba there onto Mikey with that Empower Arcana Pulse. You let that one charge for long enough, and it certainly stings. Otter is deciding to be the one sidelining, but FGG has turned up, so this could be a 2v2. Should either team decide to go for it, Otter's certainly just thinking about going forwards, but does take an Acathian Rain for his trouble, and all the while Mikey is just being left to play dodgeball in the mid lane, except, you know, it's death lasers, not balls, which I suspect is significantly less fun for all involved. Unless you're the one firing the lasers, I can see that being quite entertaining.
Yeah, could be nice. As, Monrobo been pretty okay in the mid lane, has his 1 assist, he's been farming, stacking up that tier pretty close to completion, so when he decides to go into the Archangels, he's definitely gonna get the instant upgrade. As it's been a slow couple of minutes, there's been no objectives on the map to take just yet, though I believe Resolve are on this Rift Herald up on the top side, so that should be theirs to secure. We haven't spoken about the Infernal Dragon being the soul of this game. We'll have to see whether we get to that point, but both these teams across the board, a lot of great users of the Infernal Soul, and in general, all of them like having those extra adaptive stats. So we're expecting a lot of explosive fights, and it's going to be the third Dragon of the game. A lot of explosive team fighting tools on both sides. Nautilus, Zac, from the side of Lucent and on Resolve. We're talking about the Rumble. We're talking about Lucent kicks. We're talking about flanks from Kenru with the World Ender. As speaking of the World Ender, could be getting his world ended in the bottom side. About to be the recipient of
Arrow
4-man
comes through. That's a lot of people coming for him. The Spectral Maul runs him in place as well. And Robo from downtown. We mentioned it in pregame. He's just to walk out of view for a second or two. He's going to use the remaining options to help clear out mid. Got to remember, though, that because they all roam bot, Bakako does have a chance to put the second Herald in mid lane. They are going to be the man down, our Resolve Academy, but they'll have the pressure in mid. Just chasing after Monroe a little bit, but Otter doesn't feel comfortable enough to go in that deep. The Herald doesn't actually get the mid lane tower because it died before it can charge, so instead it'll get a second charge. And that's a pretty hefty cost for Lucent for the opportunity of ganking Kenruto in the bot stage.
Tier 3? Expecting the back up. They could have.
They do stun it. Yeah.
They could have, but potentially fearing a flank engage from Lucent. So make the right choice. They sort of walk up here through the top side jungle of Lucent, steal away the jungle camps. The wave isn't in a position for them to take that tower on the retreat, so just going to go for the reset now, not lose any more tempo on the map. Bakako being a jungler, so he wants to secure this Scala, and maybe he just doesn't have the gold to actually buy anything right now, so only one on his team, not going for the reset right now. As Trinket, he's here, but he's kind of alone for the next 5 seconds now that Sotti's here looking for this elastic slingshot.
Oh, just time and time again. This is Viego looking to prove why he is the king of the top lane. Oh, bot lane. This could play healing with Kenruto with the Gordon is pretty huge, but now he's dead. And instead, Sotti gets to steal them away. And Otter's turn up. And I don't know whether you want this 2v1. He's going to back away, teleport burn for not a lot. There's Mike Q. Instead, going to try and find Little Pants rooted in place with the Feather Caller, trying to go forwards, and just gets knocked out and down. GG throws out the beach, but instead, it'll just be Little Pants who sent back to the deeps. Appropriate for Nautilus.
Yeah, it feels, still feels wrong seeing Braum have a beach again, but...
No, not again! They just don't leave! This 2v2 is just brutal. Otter's going to try and ward hop away. Doesn't have the kick available, but starts to feel comfortable enough until Monrobo fires the ult. Big burn from the Leandries, but he cancelled it, I think. Instead, we're going to replay to watch what happened the first time he turned up.
Yeah, so Kenru, you can see he buys a lot of time with all the healing, the Gordon, just Aatrox in general. There's no anti-healing between these two members of Lucent right now, but eventually he just dies to the amount of damage available still. And Otter can't really do much about saving his top laner in this situation, so TP burn. Do not actually trade anything, and again, Resolve, they kind of lose out on the play. There's not really much to get. They have Otter forced out again from the bottom side, and now Kenru return back down here to match whoever, in this case, going to be Sotti on the side lane, and Sotti now has the Divine Thunder finished up, so he is absolutely huge. There's no way Kenru can actually match him on the side lane any longer, not at this IM differential. Scaling is just too heavy, and you know, on this bottom side Resolve, whoever's been in this lane hasn't really had much support, and there hasn't been a crazy amount of cross-mapping going on. At some point during the replay, somebody did pick up the top tier 1, but Kenru again, I think Trinket's going to take this one.
Oh, he just jumps in and out. Zac gank paths are just so long ranged. He's going to be bounced around and taken down. Monrobo brings him out. The Ascended of Shurima doing just his work. The law change recently can turn Darkin into failed Ascended as well. So Zaraz shows him that the originals were always best on that front. Trinket still hopping forwards. Bakako has got ultimate not available. Well, that's probably not the easiest way of phrasing that. The point being equalizer not able to be used, and he's going to be caught out in the wrong side of the jungle. Stunned in place, bounced back over the wall. Doesn't have flash, stopped in place. Trinket gets the kill, and Lucent Esports are coming alive in this game. They're going to turn to Baron. They've killed the jungler, and I think they can just do this. Trinket, though, taken pretty low. Remember, he has his passive, but it is going to be popped. They're going to try and keep him alive. Do they have a teleport to burn if they need to? They might not. They are going to use it there. Can they interrupt it? Otter's thinking about going in. It's a shutdown. Doesn't matter indeed. And suddenly Resolve are going to be able to take this fight themselves. Sotti is running away. He's got a lot of healing. Maybe he could turn it around. And the moment the light starts spiking, Resolve Academy snuff it out. Flash away from Sotti. Heartbreaker away. He throws down the Harrow Bath, and FGG still looking forward. Monrobo is poking with the Arcana Pulse. But he'll get out, and Lucent just went a little too far, a little too deep, and Resolve Academy get a couple kills back.
If there is any silver lining here for Lucent, is that the two members with huge shutdowns don't end up dying, but going for this Baron, definitely a little audacious. You can understand the thought process of Bakako being dead. No jungler, just go for it. But there's too much damage over the wall. Trinket, I think, went to clear the ward in the back of the pit. He just eats a lot of damage over the wall. Not the best position in the world, but wanted to keep Vision dark in the pit to keep Resolve guessing. Cost him his life in the end, and now fight over this dragon is most likely pending. Members on both sides coming out from a reset as Equalizer laid down.
Equalizer, that's also going in. We just get stunned in place by North as Little Pad's now trying to back away. He's going to be taking about half HP, but hit burn there for not a huge amount. 15 seconds till the Infernal Drake, but Resolve Academy have got priority in the river. Vision in the river, and Lucent say, well, fine, you could take that. We've already got the Drake advantage. It's not putting you the sole point or anything. We can just turn to Baron. You really want to leave us alone with this? We have a 2-item Viego.
Resolve, they definitely have to think about this one. There's no vision on this side of the map for Resolve, but now they know because somebody cleared that ward that at least a couple of members sitting there. Resolve cautiously approaching. I mean, that was a very dangerous ward clear in my opinion from Makyu, but no one's there to punish.
They gets away with it this time. He's on Vision in the mid lane because of a ward placed earlier. Big Arcana pulse coming over the wall. Remember, Trinket has already found some fairly major engages from off Vision. Axler goes in, pulls the killer instincts, and makes you now going to try and get out. He goes up into the air. The feathers will fly. He's flashed away as well. Pull back his Otter, will not get the recall to put down Axler. That was bold, but they both get away with it. Double Summoner's Bird from Makyu alongside the ultimate make him significantly more vulnerable on Xayah.
Yeah, even though it was very, very ballsy from Axelan, at the end of the day, he blows Maiku's thumbs and his ult as well, like you say. So that's now a very, very vulnerable Xayah for the next couple of minutes. Even when that ultimate comes back up, you're nowhere near as hard to take down with just the ult and no flash. So, big win for Lucent, but they are going to lose out on this dragon. However, there are a lot of pings going down onto this Baron, but no one's...
Is he soloing it? He is. He's just soloing the Baron. Makyu's going to come over, but I don't know whether they're going to spot. He's going to walk around the corner, and that was probably a little bold. I know you're pretty strong. GG's that big Arcana pulse gonna come in. Otter stays forward, but a flare wicking in. Kenruto not again. He's dead this time. Axelan's the one who picks up, and Sotzi claims the world ender. That's a bit of a horrifying prospect. Ruin and world ending combined. Trinket steps forward, looking for a flash. Stretching strikes, lands it. Arcana pulse as well, along with the shocking.
That's what Lee Sin.
A shutdown, and Lee Sin is claimed by the Ruin King as well. Riot set it up for us already, Jamada. Demacia is falling, and potentially Resolve Academy are as well. It's not over, but it's looking like Baron, and that will be a healthy start to it closing out this game.
Yeah, I was thinking actually that with the Lee Sin, did it get cancelled? That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a bit,
I was thinking with the Lee Sin that maybe Sotzi would continue the chase here onto multiple Resolve members. He's certainly strong enough to have done it, but decided against it, playing a little more tempered. And you can see Resolve, they're in a bit of desperation mode here, trying to at least look for something. It's a smart play, but I mean, Kenruto again with another face check, which just isn't the correct choice. Well-Dender picked up by Sotzi, and now walks forward. Eventually, it's an elastic slingshot plus a flash forward, I believe, stretching strikes to actually find two members here of the CC. Gets kicked back, but it doesn't matter. Spectral Morph finds Lee Sin, and here is where I'm thinking maybe if Lee wants to continue moving forward, he can. Or Sotzi on the Lee Sin, if he wants to keep moving forward, he can. But again, walks back. They know they're in a pretty commanding lead right now. Resolve, we spoke about the scaling aspects of the compositions 1-to-1 and how they can work. Whilst the scaling isn't necessarily really oppressive for Lucent, it's definitely, you know, a slight edge as time goes on, you'd like to think. But for now, Resolve definitely on the back foot, as they're going to have to weather the storm on this Baron. There's a lot of towers standing still.
Oh yeah,
they've only got one to their name, a lot of standing gold, but Resolve at the moment, they can hold strong. They do have very decent fallback mechanics in their kit.
Trinket here is very being kicked out here. He's going to get over the wall and does get out. They can't continue to chase. The Arcana Pulse comes over and Makyu takes a lot of damage. And that's going to be, oh my days, has to burn the orb. He's going to get knocked out as he comes through. Makyu is dead. Lucent finds him, beautifully managed there between Monrobo and Axelan to force it out. They're going to continue chasing. Sotzi has turned up. That's a big equalizer, but out comes the shield from the Locket. And Resolve Academy do disengage, but Lucent, they're looking more and more like they're going to take this game. The last time I was casting Lucent, Jamada, they were down 0-2 in the UKEL finals. They came back to reverse sweep. And now they are in a position where they're 0-5 in this league. They are against potentially the best team in this league. And they're looking like they're gonna win it. What a turnaround from this team. What grit. It's not done yet, but this is so much brighter than we've seen the entire split long.
Yeah, and it's so nice to see finally, you know, an organization like Lucent where there was a lot of hopes for them coming into it as well. I feel obviously when you have teams move up from the UKL, the expectations are tempered, right? You know, looking to avoid relegations, playoffs at best. And, you know, scoreboard right now in terms of the standings, yes, you know, if they take down Resolve here, they will still be 1-5, but certainly a good team to take a win off of, given performances out of this Resolve Academy lineup. And I think the last time that I did cast the UKL day, I was also casting Lucent, funnily enough. So let's see whether they can close out this game. It's a pretty big lead, 4,500 gold. Baron is dissipating off, but they picked up so many towers, so much standing gold now in their back pocket. And I feel like it's just going to have to be overextensions. That's the only way that Lucent can really lose a match like this. If they allow Monrobo to kind of just lay down the poke and then look for the engages off the back of that, when Resolve have to be on the retreat already, they can find a lot of success. And I mean, if you're Resolve, you just have to do your best to weather the storm. Maybe look for picks in fog if somebody walks in a little bit isolated. But for the most part, Lucent haven't really been doing that. I mean, there's been a lot of respect for fog.
I mean, it's 3 items plus stopwatch for Stotzi versus a Gore Drinker and a Jumble Sale of an Executioner's and parts of a second item. That is a massive discrepancy in top lane, and I just don't know who handles this Viego in the side lane. And we already know this champion scales exceptionally well. We already know he steals other champions who scale exceptionally well. And Resolve Academy are in a very difficult position right now.
Yeah, and with 8 seconds left till this dragon spawns, I don't know if Resolve really want to try and flip it for just one individual Infernal Dragon. It just it wouldn't be the smartest thing in the world. But they're kind of posturing as if they want to contest it. But if I'm Resolve, I'm catching this top wave. I'm nowhere near this dragon right now. That's where I am. There's a lot of poke. They've got to walk through with Monrobo, and I think they finally made the quarterback off. The right choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Try and wait until Lucent make a more unforced error. Because trying to go head on right now into the Seraph, into the Viego, just doesn't make sense. You want to try and force numbers advantage wherever you can find it. Yeah. On the side lane, you send both your side, your TP laners and Kenro down there to deal with him. Plus FGG maybe. You just have the Rumble there with Desire to try and clear out a wave if they start up a siege in immediate response. But right now, again, Lucent haven't really been split up in a way where they can be attacked as individuals. They've been playing in unison with each other. They've been playing as a team for the most part. And it's made the responses from Resolve near impossible.
Kind of feels that way, and I'm aware that we have been kind of singing a lot of Lucent's praises. A little bit of surprise in there as well, a little bit of like happiness to see this team kind of turn up and play. But for Resolve Academy, it's not unwinnable right now. It's not completely out of sight. They had a lot of towers early on. They've got a 3-item Xayah. You've always got the opportunity for Otter to make some big plays on this Lucent. He's got a stopwatch and a couple kills to his name. You know, there are some ways back in yet, but is going to be quite tricky, and it's going to rely on keeping this Xayah alive, because it feels like she's been forced to burn a lot of her defensive tools kind of for incidental poke from the likes of Monrobo and the like, which is not really where you want to be using it.
No, you want to be using it reactively, or I mean, best case if you can use it aggressively, sure.
Amazing,
but
yeah.
You want Lucent members to try and come into you so you can drop that Feather Storm, have all the feathers be blade called in, and then, you know, bunch of damage, bunch of CC. It's how Xayah wants to operate these team fights. She wants to kite back until she can kite forward. But she's not had that opportunity. She's just poked out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Monrobo Trinket comes in, forces the Feather Storm immediately, and then the poke comes down on top of it. The follow-up from Axelan is there. Stotzi is always on top. Like, you just haven't had the room to breathe.
Well. Yeah, I mean, 6 towers now for Lucent. They've got every single outer tower. They've shoved the wave into the inhibitor. The Baron has spawned, and Otter goes over to take it. And with Kenruto down towards the bot lane, they have got double teleports to Resolve Academy. But it looks like instead of going for this, oh no, they are. Trinket cancelled for recall. They're going to start this one up. Recall from FGG is not being cancelled right now. I wonder whether they're giving this up. Jungler's back in base. I think Resolve Academy just can't get here.
Yeah, I think they have an idea now, but
it's too late.
It's way too late. So Baron over to Lucent. I mean, again, another step in the right direction to closing out this game. Resolve just haven't looked like their past selves.
Well, we asked the question. Yeah. We asked the question, what happens if Resolve Academy end up a little bit behind? You know, M&M came storming out the games yesterday and kind of made Resolve Academy look relatively mortal. Today as well, Lucent just say, screw it, we're going to run Nautilus stack and just jump on top of Viego to get him ahead as often as we can early on, and done a similar thing. I mean, credit to Resolve Academy for at least playing the map a bit wider, getting some turrets, but the game plan has not worked thus far for Resolve Academy, and they have not really found a way to wrestle control in this game really at all. Yeah,
it's been very difficult again. You know, for me, it was about the early game and how they can maybe navigate some of the tools that they had available to them, the Rumble, the Lucent, the Aatrox, all very viable ways of finding yourself an early game lead. Even if you capitalize on aggressive plays on the bottom side made by Lucent, with some of the tools you have between Xayah, Braum as well. But it just wasn't ever really the case from the start of the game.
No.
They kept even for a while, but as far as the mid game was concerned, Lucent have just pulled out ahead with not much response, and now Resolve truly on the back foot. They've got 1 minute to think about how they're going to approach this soul fight.
Right, and even came with the caveat of, yeah, Viego's got 3 kills in the early game. Like, there's even with that little underline there. Like, we know what this champion does. And we know what, and on the other side, it was a bit more diffuse, the gold for Resolve Academy. It was across a few members. Decent CS lead for After mid, that kind of deal. A lot of gold on to Make You as well, who got that really early turret as well, which was, you know, in fairness to Resolve Academy, a great play with the Herald down there. But Make You is now 1-4. He's been unable to hold ground where they would have liked to. A lot of times we've seen him be jumped on from miles and miles and miles away, and she's not done the best job, or at least Resolve Academy in general, put it in one place, of keeping the Xayah alive. It's been really difficult.
It's been difficult when you can't really, you know, match the range when you don't have true hard engage.
Oh, no. Viego just takes the top inhibitor turret for free. Like, Resolve Academy being pulled apart. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. 13 seconds till Infernal Soul.
Not much they can do. It's just so almost bizarre to see Resolve so out of sorts right now. As, I mean, map positioning tells me they're yielding the soul, so they're going to have to just try and play it out.
Again, now a Zera with 3 items, and now Infernal Soul. That sounds like a horror show. Sotzi Heartbreakers away. Otter lands a Sonic Wave, but I don't think he wants to follow that one up. And congratulations, you've got an ultimate from Viego, but you've lost the soul. You've already lost the inhibitor turret on the top side, and this 4 item now, Viego. It's going to feel pretty comfortable to keep shoving forward. The Baron finally wears out, but our observer zooms out, and we can see Resolve looking for a desperate angle, a bush camp, anything. But you've got so many important figures to kill. Even if you get rid of the AD carry, it couldn't be enough. Level pan.
God.
Oh my days, Monrobo. That was absolutely disgusting. The ult is pulled and the artillery is fired. It feels like 1940 all over again, because the air raid siren should be whiling away. And Lucent find the fight that will lead them towards their first victory in the UKLC. They were 0-5, but when the tournament was darkest, they find the light, and it will be Lucent moving forward here against the #1 team in the league. My hats go off to you.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, before this game, we thought, all right, Resolve, you know, yesterday, blip on the radar, M&M, they came out with a strong draft, which made it very difficult for them to respond. Today, Resolve still had options to play through, but they just weren't really that proactive in the early game. They didn't really pull out ahead. They definitely had moments where they were cross-mapping and making things happen, you know, all of the gold injected into Make You, for example, but Lucent just held strong, and they were consistently making all the plays. It was Lucent that managed to get 3 kills onto Sotzi on that Viego, and come the mid-game, without, you know, hard engaged tools on the Resolve side, they couldn't pick fights on their terms. They always had to wait for, you know, Lucent to actually make the plays, and that's the issue for me, especially in this meta. We spoke about it a lot in the NLC as well. Gorborg, myself, we always say, these games are very burst heavy, they're very fast tempo. If you're the one of the agency, you're the ones that can make things happen. It wasn't there for Resolve. Lucent, hats off to you for, you know, taking down what was looking like one of the strongest teams in the league.
From 0-5 to 1-5, they're only one game off the teams ahead of them now. Just saying, guys, you know, there's a world where this all gets turned around. But we'll have more about this game after a quick break, including an interview with Lucent's coach. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. What a game.